You ever have one of those mornings where you think, well, surely, the worst is behind me, and then the universe just laughs in your face? That was me, first day in my brand new non-HOA house, feeling like I'd finally escaped the madness. No more surprise finds, no more angry notes taped to the mailbox, just me and my patchy lawn, ready to live in peace. And then, out of nowhere, the cops show up at my door because I laid a piece of plywood over a muddy little ditch by my driveway. Yeah, that happened. The officer, bless his soul, said, "This isn't HOA jurisdiction." And that's when my neighbor, let's just call her Scarlett, absolutely lost it. Picture a 50-something lady in a pencil skirt at 7 a.m., clipboard in one hand, measuring tape in the other, marching up and down my property line like she's auditioning for CSI, Suburbia. Let me back up a sec, because honestly, the moving truck's backup beeper had been my alarm clock that morning, echoing down Meadowbrook Commons, and all I wanted was a fresh start. The real estate listing screamed non-HOA property in bold, and after 3 years of HOA nonsense, I just wanted to mow my grass when I felt like it. The joke was on me, though. I'd barely moved 50 feet past the invisible line where the HOA's reach officially ended, but some folks around here, turns out, don't actually believe in boundaries. I'm watching Scarlett from the kitchen, still in yesterday's jeans, while movers wrestle my couch through the front door. She's out there, stalking the edge of my yard, snapping photos, jotting notes, crouching down to scrutinize the wooden board I'd tossed across the old utility ditch. The previous owner said it was a temporary fix, part of an easement from way back in '83. Just a slab of plywood to keep my car from scraping. Not exactly a federal case. Unless you ask Scarlett, who's circling it like she's mapping a crime scene, muttering into her phone about violations of Section 4.2 and community drainage standards. And the kicker? She keeps mentioning her husband handles legal matters, like he's not just unclogging sinks, but drafting Supreme Court briefs. By the time I pour my second cup of coffee, Scarlett's completed her patrol, and she's glaring at my house from the sidewalk, making more notes. I consider introducing myself, maybe try the whole, "hey, new neighbor," thing, but her body language screams, this isn't a social call. So I just watch as she takes one last picture of my door and heads back across the street, high heels clicking like a metronome of doom. 45 minutes of this, all before breakfast. Welcome to the neighborhood, right? That night, movers gone, I find an envelope slipped under my door. Fancy paper, no return address, my name in block letters. Inside, Meadowbrook Commons Homeowners Association letterhead, listing my address, citing me for unauthorized structural modification to community drainage infrastructure. I'm officially on the hook for a board of plywood. The letter's signed by Scarlett herself, apparently the HOA president, and gives me a number to call for remediation services. No explanation, just legal-sounding mumbo-jumbo about immediate corrective measures. The kicker? My deed says I'm not even part of the HOA. I try the number, straight to voicemail. The email bounces back. HOA website. Might as well be a GeoCities page from 1998. By 10 p.m., I'm telling myself it's a clerical error. I'll sort it Monday with the county recorder. Sunday morning, there's a pounding on my door. I open it in my bathrobe to find a county sheriff's deputy, radio crackling, and Scarlett, same pencil skirt, arms crossed, standing right behind him, wearing an expression like she's the principal and I'm in big trouble. Got a call about a drainage violation, the deputy says, nodding toward my plywood board. Scarlett waves her clipboard. Temporary blockage violates clearly established community drainage standards that apply to all properties, regardless of HOA membership. She says it like she's quoting scripture. The deputy scrolls through his iPad, looking more and more bored, then finally tells Scarlett, easements are county jurisdiction, not HOA. Even if there's a problem here, which I don't see, it's not the association's business. You could practically hear the air leave Scarlett's lungs. She tries to save face, but the deputy's already heading to his car, telling me I'm fine as long as I'm not blocking water flow. For a second, I think that's the end of it. But you know what they say, never underestimate a Karen on a mission. 3 days later, I get an official email from the city's Code Enforcement Division. Same tone as the HOA letter. Only now there's a threat of daily fines if I don't correct non-standard drainage modifications within 72 hours. Scarlett had elevated the fight, filing reports that automatically triggered a city inspection. The city notice links me to approved contractors, all of whom charge emergency rates. And then, twist of the week, my insurance company calls. Apparently, multiple reports from my address flagged me as a risk, and now my homeowner's policy is under review. A day later, the mortgage company calls to say my loan is being flagged for expedited underwriting because of civil dispute indicators. Basically, every system that matters to a homeowner starts to squeeze. Scarlett can't control my property outright, but by playing the bureaucracy game, she can make my life hell. I try to stay one step ahead, moving the board, laying down outdoor carpet over the muddy patch, anything to stay in compliance. But every small change triggers a new violation. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. Friday brings a $500 citation for unauthorized covering of municipal access points because I try to keep my shoes clean. Photographic evidence arrives before I've even had my morning coffee. She's watching, always. And just when I think the pressure can't get any worse, I get an email intended for the wrong address. Scarlett's sending complaints about multiple properties, not just mine. I'm not her only target, just the latest. Right after, the mortgage guy calls, sounding like he's reading me my last rights. My home's under risk review. Refinancing is off the table, all because of a flurry of citations. I'm stuck. Every call is a threat. Every email is another hit to my wallet or peace of mind. Then, on a random Saturday, I notice Scarlett live streaming from the sidewalk. Official vest, tripod, laser pointer, the works, explaining boundaries between compliant and non-compliant areas to whoever will listen online, spray painting yellow lines on the concrete to educate the public. This is performance art at this point. That night, I dive into my title documents, looking for anything to prove she has no authority. Sure enough, my property's easement predates the HOA. County controls infrastructure, not the association. Still, the harassment ramps up. That's when Dorothy appears, a retired teacher with the patience of a saint and a manila folder full of receipts. She's been on HOA boards across 3 states and knows every trick in the book. She shows me Scarlett's pattern. Similar citation campaigns drove other families out, all just outside HOA jurisdiction. Dorothy suggests we call a site walk, inviting other neighbors as witnesses while Scarlett, predictably, arrives with a laminated technical memo, her supposed smoking gun. I ask to see the original. She gets defensive. Dorothy calls the county, puts them on speaker. The memo? Just a construction clearance record, totally irrelevant to current legal boundaries. As Scarlett's facade cracks, Dorothy reveals records of unauthorized drainage work, unapproved by the county, and a suspicious bump in Scarlett's own water and electrical usage, like someone's hiding something. A neighbor named Sam, an electrician, chimes in. He's noticed oddities in the infrastructure, found contractor signatures that match the bogus paperwork. The trail leads to forged authorizations, and even a signature from the HOA treasurer on work he supposedly opposed. It all blows up at the emergency board meeting. Dorothy, Sam, and I lay out the whole scheme. Forged memos, unauthorized work, city resources diverted, fake citations used to crush dissent. Then Jason, Scarlett's ex-husband, stands up and confesses. He was pressured into creating the fake memo, his credentials misused for months to harass non-HOA owners. As the evidence mounts, the room turns on Scarlett. When she tries to threaten dissolution of the HOA, the board votes her out, 38-2. She storms out, leaving behind handwritten notes planning her harassment campaigns. Clear proof it was all deliberate. After that, Scarlett's reign collapses. She's ignored in the street. Her HOA discount cards get declined at Kroger. The county starts playing warning messages about abuse of complaint systems. Her home goes up for sale. No dramatic showdown, just the slow, humiliating drip of lost influence. Meanwhile, Dorothy takes over as HOA president, putting real guardrails in place. There's a new checklist, 1 page, factual evidence only, before any complaint gets filed. Residents learn to spot red flags, to organize, to help each other document and defend against bureaucratic bullying. The best part? One afternoon, Dorothy hands me a brass key, evidence stashed in a storage unit, final proof tying Scarlett's entire campaign to permit fraud and fake inspections. That's what finally triggers a county investigation, locks the new rules in for good, and gives the whole neighborhood closure. 6 months later, we're having a barbecue. Kids running in sprinklers, folks swapping vacation stories. There's a posted checklist on the community center wall, a legal fund to help anyone who gets targeted, and a shared memory of how we all came together when it mattered. Funny thing, sometimes the worst neighbors end up teaching everyone else how to be better. Power only works when nobody asks questions. But when folks stand up together, when one person's story becomes everyone's, it's a whole different game. So, if you've ever dealt with neighbors who bend the rules, weaponize paperwork, or try to run the block like their own little fiefdom, drop a comment. Tell your story. Share your thoughts about where the line is between keeping up appearances and crossing into control. Sometimes justice looks like a courtroom. Sometimes it's just a bunch of tired neighbors eating barbecue, finally at peace. You made it through my story. Now let's hear yours.